Chapter 11. Harry's feeling nervous about his first Quidditch match, so he has been reading some books to familiarize himself with the rules because, obviously. But Snape is acting weird, but not too outside of his character because he punishes Harry for having a book outside the library.
Insolent little.
Something or the other happens, which leads Harry to find out Snape has actually met the Cerberus from earlier in the book. But anyway, Harry continues to be an anxious wreck, which, to be honest,
This is fine.
then later on, the game starts. Harry's broom gets bewitched. Hermione thinks it's Snape, so she sets his robes on fire. Harry gets back on his broom. He catches the snitch, and yay, Gryffindor won! Woo!
We don't care.
After the game, they go visit Hagrid, who lets it slip that the three-headed dog is called Fluffy, and that whatever it is guarding is a matter that concerns Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel. And that's where chapter 11 ends. And chapter 12 starts. 'Tis the season to be festive. Christmas is around the corner, just like IRL. Sorry, and most students go back home for the holidays. Harry is to stay there in Hogwarts, and at least he's thankful that Ron is going to stay with him. A little fight between Ron, Harry, Crabbe, Goyle, and Malfoy ensues. I don't really remember why. And then obviously Snape punishes Ron for the fight, even though he was told by Hagrid that Malfoy was the perpetrator. Because why would Snape act like a fucking adult for once in his life? He is a kid. He's a teenager in an adult's body, and he is making sure everybody knows that he's petty.
L-P-E-to-the-T-T-Y.
Anyway, everybody goes their separate ways. Harry and Ron are still fixated on who this Nicholas Flamel person is, and they want to find out more, obviously. And so they have been searching books in the library and have not had much much luck. And because, it's the holidays, they don't have classes, etc. Ron starts teaching Harry about wizard chess, which I'm assuming is just normal chess, but is voice activated with moving pieces. And it sounds less magical now in 2024. It sounds more magical in 1997 than it does now. Christmas rolls in. Okay, I'm interjecting because I listened and I apparently forgot to mention, what do you mean Christmas? Basically, religion has evolved the same way in Harry Potter's world, where magic is a thing, as it does in our current world. Like, why? Because basically, all of Jesus's miracles would be considered just basic magic tricks to these 11-year-olds. They're learning all of them, but why? I'm going to give this the benefit of the doubt and say that they're just giving a Christmas break to kind of fit in. But I don't think that Joanne actually thought it through. I think she just wanted to be like, oh yeah, here, have a vacation, and that's it. Because she wanted Hermione out of the picture for some reason. That's just a speculation for my part. It's kind of weird. Like, why would religion evolve the same way in a world where magic exists? Does that make sense? Okay, I'm out. Harry gets a sweater from Mrs. Weasley, which is very sweet. I do like that. It's very sweet of her. And then he gets an invisibility cloak from an unnamed person. I'm guessing it's probably Dumbledore, but a part of me thinks that this is probably another foreshadowing piece for other books. So I'm not gonna hedge my bets on this. Harry decides to take the invisibility cloak on a run and goes to the library's restricted section. Problems arise, he nearly gets caught by Filch and Snape, and he narrowly escapes and finds himself in an empty classroom. There is a mirror, which we later find out is named the Mirror of Erised, Desire, because it's mirror.
Oh my god. I get it.
Harry looks in the mirror and sees things that are not really in the room with him, and then he panics for a moment, and then when he looks back, he sees his parents. So he spends some time just, I guess, living this fantasy with his parents in the mirror. Hi, baby. My cat came for support. Hi. Oh my goodness, you're so cute. Oh, thanks. Oh, yes, you are. Right, so what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. So he spent some time. Why are you being so? You're distracting me with your cuteness. So he has to leave because I think he spent like too much time and he had to sneak back into the dorm. So he has to go back, but he has like full intention of coming to the mirror because he wants to see his parents, obviously. Then we get a chapter break. We have a scene where Harry is excited to take Ron to he's like, oh my god, I can't wait for you to meet my parents. It's so exciting, yada yada yada. But when they get there and Ron looks through the mirror, he basically sees himself with all of the accomplishments of his brothers. And this was already mentioned in our first meeting with Ron, that he feels overshadowed by his siblings' accomplishments. It's really sad that this hasn't really been discussed, or at least tackled in a better fashion, because I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of kids that would have felt related to this. So Harry doesn't understand how the mirror works, because when he looks into it, he sees his family. And then they get into an argument because he wants to see his parents, but Ron wants to continue living his fantasy of being an only child and having all of these accomplishments.
Still Quidditch. Manly Quidditch.
And then they get into this little quibble, but Mrs. Norris, Filch's cat, she appears and they have to leave. We get another chapter break, and here we are told basically that Harry has become obsessed with the Mirror of Erised, and he has lost interest in everything else. He just wants to go to the mirror and see his parents all the time. Ron warns him not to, but Harry doesn't listen and goes anyway. And he does see his parents again, and this time Headmaster Dumbledore himself joins him. Dumbledore basically lets us know that he can become invisible at will, like without a cloak. He was there the previous night with Harry and Ron, like when they were having the little quibble. And I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know if that means that, like, is Dumbledore just like 90% of the time invisible? Is that like why he's never mentioned in the book and then we don't really see him? Is he like just following Harry all the time, or was he just using the Mirror of Erised before Harry and Ron came into the room, and so he just made himself invisible so that they wouldn't know that he was looking into it? Hey baby, I need you to get off my desk. I need you to get off my desk. Thank you. I know. You just want to have loves and kisses. I'm sorry. She just wants attention. I know. But yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. But I'm just saying, maybe Dumbledore should be on some watch list if he can just become invisible whenever he wishes, and then we don't really see him most of the time. But jokes aside, Dumbledore has a little bit of a heart-to-heart with Harry, which was cute. And then, being quirky, says that he sees himself holding woolen socks when he looks at it. And I don't think I buy it. I feel like he just said that because his most desire, because he does say that the mirror shows you like your heart's biggest desire. And I find it hard to believe that all Dumbledore wants are woolen socks.
That's suspicious.
Anyway, chapter 13. So now that Harry no longer has the Erised mirror to obsess over, he was back to his original obsession of Nicholas Flamel and what the Cerberus dog was guarding. As the term resumes and Hermione is back from the holidays, we get yet another Quidditch match. This one is refereed by Snape, which makes the trio worried, Harry extra worried, and Hermione and Ron are concerned that Snape might do something else and try to murderize Harry. So they are like, can you just maybe say that you're sick? Can you just sit this one out, please?
You shouldn't be anywhere near the fight. You're too important.
But Harry doesn't actually do that. He's just a nervous wreck, but he still wants to play because he knows it's an important game. So he doesn't want to let the team down because he cares. And honestly, I understand. Neville keeps being the butt of every bad joke in this book. And then Hermione helps him. Harry gives him some chocolate and they try to cheer him up. And Neville gives them back the card that comes with the little chocolatey thing, because Harry actually collects them. And that's when Harry finally remembers where he saw the name Nicholas Flamel. And I quote, Professor Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the dark wizard Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of the 12 uses of dragon's blood, and his work on alchemy with his partner, Nicholas Flamel. Okay, to be honest, like I'm just gonna butt in the middle of this. An epic fantasy book written by a better author about Dumbledore's adventure fighting Grindelwald sounds like something I would fucking enjoy a lot more than this. And I don't know if maybe someone has written a fucking fan fiction about it, but I would read that over this any day. Anywho, Hermione brings more information that we find and we find out that there's something called a Sorcerer's Stone, also referred to as the Philosopher's Stone. What is this magical stone, you ask? Well, let me quote you their book. It says, the ancient study of alchemy is concerned with making the Philosopher's Stone, a legendary substance with astonishing powers. The stone will transform any metal into pure gold. It also produces the elixir of life, which will make the drinker immortal. Now, please remember this tidbit, right? It'll make the drinker immortal, right? And I continue with the quote. There have been many reports of the Philosopher's Stone over the centuries, but the only stone currently in existence belongs to Mr. Nicholas Flamel, the noted alchemist and opera lover. Mr. Flamel, who celebrated his 665th birthday last year, enjoys a quiet life in Devon with his wife Perenelle, 658, unquote. So I know that Dumbledore is old, like maybe around the 100 years mark at the beginning of this book, but it doesn't really specify. Nicholas is 665. His wife is 658. So I'm assuming they have drank the elixir of life and are now immortal. The book had me thinking this would be true immortality. Like you drink it once and then you stop aging for good. Newsflash, it's not. We find out later, but for now I'm telling you that it's not, and I will come back to it when it's actually mentioned again. Vampires again do exist in this world, and I have no idea if they are considered immortal beings or if they do age. So I don't know what the book considers immortality, right? So after they make the revelation, Harry has his Quidditch match, and would you believe me if I told you Gryffindor won in record time? And of course you would, because Harry's the special.
The prophecy states that you are the most important, most talented, most interesting, and most extraordinary person in the universe.
And as everyone is celebrating, Harry takes his little broom to the shed and notices Snape sneaking into the Forbidden Forest. And ooh, what's going on here? So Harry follows, and wouldn't you know it, Snape and Quirrell sitting under a tree. Kissing. No, I'm just kidding. They were just speaking in hushed voices, and Harry hears the magic words, Philosopher's Stone. And Snape is threatening Quirrell. Harry understands that Snape wants to get by the Cerberus on the 3rd floor, and he's, trying to extort Quirrell into telling him how to get by. Anyway, they finish their secret meeting. Harry goes back to the dorm where he relays all of this information to Ron and Hermione. He's like, I saw Snape wants to get the stone for some reason, right? To be honest, they don't know why Snape wants the stone at this point in the book. They have just decided that he is evil. Whatever he wants to do with it must also be evil. And as far as we know, the stone can only do 2 things. So either Snape will get like the Midas touch and then be able to turn every metal. I mean, the Midas touch turns everything into gold, but he will be only to turn any metal into gold, or he will get immortality, which both seem at this point in the book of little consequence to Harry and the gang, right? The chapter 13 ends, we get to chapter 14. The gang is glad that Quirrell is sticking up to the emo boy Snape himself, and he's not telling him how to get past the Cerberus, but the gang is drowning in homework and preparing for exams with Hermione's help. That's where they meet Hagrid. Like, Hagrid is in the library to get some books, and he teases them about like, oh, are you still looking about the Nicholas Flamel thing? And they go like, yeah, no, we already know who's Flamel, and we already know that Fluffy is guarding the Philosopher's Stone. And he's like, oh, and then he's like, come over to the hut, right? There is something I want to show you. And they think it's dragons, right? And we get another piece of lore here that makes the whole in the world building larger for me. And I quote, dragon breeding was outlawed by the Warlocks Convention of 1709. Everyone knows that. It's hard to stop muggles noticing us if we're keeping dragons in the back garden. Anyway, you can't tame dragons, it's dangerous. You should see the burns Charlie's got off wild ones in Romania. Question. How are the dragons kept secret? I want to know. This is implying that wizards and non-wizards exist in the same world. That means there is no in-between space where the wizards exist and therefore have dragons hidden by some weird magic spell, which is the only reason why I've been like a little bit more lenient. I was just like, okay, maybe they have this in-between space and then they exist within it and it's just like a hidden space, right? It's cloaked away. Like humans will look, but they will only see normal sky, can't touch it. They would just go right through it and they cannot interact with it in any sense. That's how I thought about it. But now it's telling me that they exist in the same space. That is what's being implied by saying that we can't keep dragons in the back garden. Right? So how does this work? Okay? How do you keep non-magical creatures that are not sentient about being magical? Sorry, how do you keep magical creatures? My brain is being fried again. How do you how do you keep magical creatures that are not sentient of being magical a secret from non-wizarding folk? How do you do that? Or maybe do they have them all magically tagged and then whenever one is spotted they just do like the Men in Black equivalent of the white light and then make people forget about that, which also is a logistical nightmare regardless. But I digress. They visit they visit Hagrid, and it indeed do be a dragon egg, right? And a week later or something, they see it hatch, and it's the cutest little thing, I will admit. They name him Norbert, I believe, and a wild Draco Malfoy appears and eavesdrops on them, and he knows about the dragon, which is a problem because it's illegal to have a dragon. So now the group decides that they will get Ron's brother, the one that he mentioned in Romania, to take the dragon, especially after Ron got bit by it, right? So Charlie, Ron's brother, agrees that some of his friends will come to take the dragon in a week, right? And they must sneak him because illegal dragon and whatnot. Ron is out of commission because of the poisonous bite. So Harry and Hermione have to be the ones who get the dragon to the tower, and Malfoy knows about all of this plan, so he will probably attempt to ambush them. They know, they're ready, but there's nothing they can do because they have only one chance and one chance only to get rid of this dragon. They are sneaking out at night. They have the invisibility cloak thingy. Malfoy doesn't, so he got caught by Professor McGonagall, and then the duo, they managed to get the dragon to the friends. They were too happy that while climbing down, they forgot to hide back again under the cloak. And so they ended up stumbling into Filch and also got caught. And then that's the end of our chapter. Chapter 15. Neville, bless his heart. Neville is like my favorite character so far in the book because he's just cute and trying his best all the time and just failing but still trying his best, poor thing. And I hate the book made him suffer so much. So Neville, bless his heart, got in trouble because he wanted to help and warn the gang. So McGonagall deducts 50 points each from Gryffindor, totaling 150 for Gryffindor and 50 for Slytherin because of Malfoy. Harry's sad because now everyone hates him for losing this many points so close to the end of the school year. And he thinks that he has lost any chance of winning the House Cup. I don't even know what that is or like why it matters. But anyway, the four of them have also gotten detention, which will also be explained to us later. Like it's just mentioned in passing. I think he's walking in the corridor or something, but Harry hears Snape having a conversation with Quirrell.
Carl!
The trio worry that Snape is closer to getting the Philosopher's Stone. And then we go back to the detention thingy. And I know, I just said that, but this is like how it happens in the book itself. Like, I think they were sitting having breakfast or doing something. I don't remember what they were doing, but then just an owl comes in and it drops a letter from Filch telling them that their detention is going to be tonight. Now, you might think detention might be staying in class after past school hours or something, getting extra homework or being denied some privileges. But no, detention for sneaking out of the dorm at night is being sent to the most dangerous place in the school ground, which is known here as the Forbidden Forest. And do they send them during the day? No. they send them at 11 p.m. Yep, that is normal. There's nothing a little encounter with death will not fix. Child abuse? No. This is character strengthening. Back in Filch's day, they would hang you by your wrists from the ceiling for a few days. And that is canon. That's in the book. They go to the Forbidden Forest, right? Where they are tasked to help Hagrid hunt down whatever has been killing unicorns in the forest. Unicorns, by the way, are powerful magical creatures. And Hagrid says, and I quote, "I never knew one to be hurt before." This school, I remind you, has taken 4 11-year-old kids, took them outside at 11 at night into a forest full of monsters and asking them to hunt down a monster of unknown origin. So powerful, it can kill a unicorn. I'm sorry, I think I prefer being hanged by my wrists for a few days. It's okay. I will just hang from the ceiling for a few days. No water, no food. It's fine. I'll take that over whatever fucking encounter monster I will have to face. And I just want to say, where are the fucking lawyers? I am suing this school for inhuman practices, for child endangerment, child neglect, amongst many, many other things. Because, not only that, Hagrid, he gets the brilliant idea of splitting into two. He splits the team, you know, I think there were like 6 of them. Anyway, Malfoy and Neville get to have Hagrid's dog, Fang, and meanwhile, the Triple H go together. They meet a centaur named Ronan, and the centaurs we meet seem to be enamored by stars, planets, moons, and the sorts, because they keep making comments about Mars more than once during the interactions with Hagrid and the gang. They go their merry way, but before they went too far, a hope signal is released by Malfoy and Neville. Hagrid abandons Hermione and Harry to go help them. Very smart decision, I must say. But fortunately, Malfoy was playing tricks and scared Neville. So now he decides that they should split differently. Harry got stuck with Draco and Fang because it worked so well the first time. Let's try it again. Harry finds traces of unicorn blood and follows it. And then in a clearing, they find a creature feeding on a unicorn, right? So Malfoy, being the smart one, he screamed and ran off for his fucking life. Fang, being a smart dog, does the same thing, just fucking flees following Malfoy. But Harry, zero self-preservation, no survival skills. He is stuck, bolted, dead bolted in the ground, right? He has survived so long by sheer miracle alone, but his luck is yet to run out because centaurs come to his rescue. Firenze is the name of our hero, and he takes Harry on his back, which apparently is a shameful act, and like it's a shameful thing for centaurs to do. But anyway, we get more I fucking can't speak. More foreshadowing about special boy Harry's role in some future shit. I am so excited. Yay. I think you can tell about how much I care about this, which is not a lot. Firenze tells him that killing a unicorn is a bad thing, and I quote, "Only one who has nothing to lose and everything to gain would commit such a crime. The blood of a unicorn will keep you alive even if you are an inch from death, but at a terrible price. You have slain something pure and defenseless to save yourself, and you will have but a half-life, a cursed life, from the moment the blood touches your lips." Unquote. So, side note, I want to see this story instead. Can I have the Harry Potter books from the perspective of Voldemort? And I'm pretty sure that someone has, again, already written a fanfiction about this. But I'm just saying, there are more interesting stories to be had in this universe than this. Poor innocent Harry is like, why would anybody be so desperate? You know, death is better than being half alive, whatever. And then Firenze agrees. And he says, and I quote, "Unless all you need is to stay alive long enough to drink something else, something that will bring you back to full strength and power, something that will mean you can never die. Mr. Potter, do you know what is hidden in the school at this very moment?" Unquote. the Philosopher's Stone, the elixir of life, the secret to immortality. It all adds up now, everything makes sense. Harry is getting a fucking eureka moment. Snape wants to bring Voldemort to life. That is his conclusion. Tiny side note, right? Tiny side note. Remember, we got a little bit of tidbit added to this fucking elixir of life thing. It says that you can never die. Never die. Just add it to the other things that we have known about the elixir of life and the Philosopher's Stone so far, right? Just we will dissect that later. Right. Chapter 16. We are almost done. Bear with me. I know this has been long. Exams are happening. Harry is very scared of losing his life because fucking he expects Voldemort to show up any moment. Quirrell can't fucking stick to Snape for much longer, he guesses. I don't know. And then Harry's little lightning bolt starts hurting and he thinks it's a warning sign. Something, his friends are telling him to relax. We have Daddy Dumbledore next to. He's around, probably invisible, but he's around. So there's no way Voldemort would try anything. We're safe. And he may be an edgelord, but even he is scared of manic pixie dream boy Dumbledore, and we're fine. We're safe. We have him. Relax. Harry thinks for a moment. He needs to take action. He can't just be inactive and just reactive all the time, right? He can't do nothing. Something is weird. It doesn't add up. So he decides to go and ask Hagrid about the weird dragon egg. Hagrid tells him he doesn't know who the person is, but they just talked about being a gameskeeper, got drunk, about wanting a dragon, and that one dragon would be easy after having a Cerberus. Hagrid, bless his soul, very simple person, indulged that his Cerberus falls right to sleep if you play him some music. And then before Hagrid even realizes what the words that came out of his mouth were, the three people have bolted out. They are just running to the castle. They need to warn Dumbledore. But the one time you need him, the one time you need Daddy Dumbledore, he's not there. So they tell Professor McGonagall, but she doesn't take them seriously. And she says, it's fine. We will deal with this when he comes back. The stone is safe. You're panicking for no reason. So they give up and decide that they should take matters into their own hands and stop Snape tonight from stealing the stone by stealing it first. And who is behind them but Snape himself? Because speak of the devil and he shall appear. Snape continues to be a petty boy and threatens to get Harry expelled if he breaks any more rules. So let's go back. Harry decides that he should steal the stone before Snape gets the chance to, and Ron and Hermione refuse to let him do it alone. Neville tries to stop them because he doesn't want to lose any more house points, and Hermione casts Petrifying Spell, and then they leave him on the floor because Neville has to continue being the butt of the joke of this book. When they arrive, Fluffy is already asleep, so they think Snape has gotten past Fluffy. The enchanted harp stops playing music, and so the Cerberus awakes. And then before he gets to do anything, they play the flute, get past the dog too, and they find themselves surrounded by Devil's Snare, which is some plant that basically tightens around you faster the more like you try to break free. Hermione, uncharacteristically, loses her head in this moment, right? And she needs to be reminded by Ron that she is a witch. Need I remind you, Hermione has never lost her head in this book ever. And so the fact that the one moment she can actually shine through, she gets told by another male character that, oh, you're a witch. Why are you being stupid? I hated that. That was unnecessary. She could have just cast her spell. She cast a fire spell and the plants let go of them, and then they go to the next room. They find flying keys and broomsticks. One of the keys has a broken wing, which makes them think that's the correct one. Harry grabs a broom and chases it around. And because Harry is the best, youngest seeker, whatever, of course he catches the key, no problem. And they go to the next game. Sorry, to the next room. That's where they find a game of chess. Giant chess pieces. They play across the board. Harry and Hermione get across, and Ron has to sacrifice himself dramatically. But it's not like he was going to actually die. Probably he got worse, like a concussion, if anything. Harry and Hermione get through the next door, and they find a bunch of potions with a riddle. Let me read it for you, right? Danger lies before you, while safety lies behind. 2 of us will help you, whichever you would find. 1 among us, 7 will let you move ahead. Another will transport the drinker back instead. 2 amongst our number hold only Neville wine. 3 of us are killers waiting hidden in line. Choose unless you wish to stay here forevermore. To help you in your choice, we give you these clues for: first, however slyly the poison tries to hide, you will always find some on Neville Wine's left side. Second, different are those who stand at either end, but if you would move onwards, neither is your friend. Third, as you see clearly, All are different size. Neither dwarf nor giant holds death in their insides. Fourth, the second left and the second on the right are twins once you taste them, though different at first sight. This riddle is not badly written. It's very standard, like it's a very standard. Why would you have a riddle sitting idly by if you're trying to stop people from reaching the stone? It seems counterproductive. It had been nice seeing seeing the author has incorporated things that the gang has learned about so far in the book. But I think maybe if they had to make a potion to get through the fire would have been better, as opposed to just being handed a riddle with the answer already there. Hermione figures out the puzzle pretty quickly, and then Harry takes the potion that will take him forward, and then Hermione takes the one that will take her back so she can help, dramatic run. Harry gets through the door, and there's someone already waiting. It wasn't Snape. It wasn't Voldemort. Chapter 17. It was Quirrell. Harry confronts Professor Quirrell, and we get a series of revelations that do work because of the overshadowing that we had in the text. It was Quirrell who was cursing Harry in the Quidditch match. Snape was trying to help. It was Quirrell who let the troll out, who gave Hagrid the dragon egg. Quirrell did everything. He turns around to the mirror because he thinks it's the key to get into the stone. Quirrell asks his master for help, and Harry, he hears a voice and it says, "Use the boy." Quirrell gets Harry in front of the mirror and asks him what he sees. Now, Harry sees his reflection pulling the stone from his pocket and placing it back. And then he feels that there is something in his pocket now. But he lies and says that he sees himself shaking Dumbledore's hand, right? Quirrell is like, fuck, get away, useless. And then Voldemort asks to speak to Harry face to face, and it is revealed that Edgy Shadow Lord has been living like a parasite attached to Quirrell's head. Voldemort taunts Harry, and Harry attempts to run away. Quirrell catches him, but his hands, they start burning and blistering. And before he could mutter a deadly curse, Harry touches his face. The germs that are on Harry's hands were enough to cause him burns, and Quirrell's like, and he's turning to ash, whatever. And then Harry loses consciousness. And then he wakes up 3 days later in the infirmary. He starts panicking that Quirrell probably got the stone. Dumbledore is like, no, it's fine. And I just want to say, I hate that we get to see the climax of the story. No, we don't get to see the climax of the story. We get told what happened through a background character. It feels cheap, very cheap, because it feels like just a wizard did it, literally. And I quote Dumbledore. "Very well, the stone. Professor Quirrell did not manage to take it from you. I arrived in time to prevent that. Although you were doing very well on your own, I must say. You got there. You got Hermione's owl. We must have crossed in midair. No sooner had I reached London that it became clear to me that the place I should be was the one I had just left. I arrived just in time to pull Quirrell off you. It was you. I feared I might be too late. You nearly were. I couldn't have kept him off the stone much longer. Not the stone, boy. You. The effort evolved nearly killed you. For one terrible moment there, I was afraid it had. As for the stone, it had been destroyed." Harry then mentioned, by the way, we don't know how exactly Dumbledore actually won the fight, or what the fight was. He just won, okay? And the stone is just destroyed. Harry then mentioned, Nicholas Flamel, and then remember earlier when I told you to keep in mind all of the immortality tidbits that we were being fed? Delicious. Well, apparently, the elixir of life is less of an immortality elixir and more of a life prolongation potion. And I suppose you need to keep taking it to keep living. I don't know if this had been the intention from the get-go, or if the author has forgotten all of the things that she had written so far and then just made another thing at the end, or if it's like a misunderstanding from my part. I wasn't under the impression that immortality in here meant infinite years, but I guess it still meant you could die from deadly injury. At least that's how I thought it would be, or at least I thought it would be like a complete immortality, as in unkillable, because it did say, Firenze said, means you can never die. So I thought it could be complete immortality, but apparently no. Apparently it's just a potion that you drink. I don't know how long does it prolong your life for, but you have to keep consuming it. So that was another inconsistency and contradictive thing that was in the book that kind of was very disappointing. We find out a few things. Harry's mother's Dumbledore's love protected him. Snape hates Harry's father because apparently he's indebted to Harry's father, which is why apparently he worked so hard to protect Harry all year long. And the reason Harry got the stone, according to Daddy Dumbledore himself, who humble bragged about being so smart for thinking of bewitching the Mirror of Erised. Apparently, only the one who wants it but not use it. Sorry, only the one who wants to find it but not use it is the one who gets it. But if you want to find it and use it, you're not gonna get it. Anyway, I would say that Dumbledore is wrong. He's not very smart. The fact that you even made it reachable for anyone makes it stupid. So first of all, if I have this stone, I would not tell anybody about it, because the more people you have knowing about it, the more likely the secret will go out. Now, you not only have told Hagrid, big mistake, but you have had the entire faculty in on this, including Quirrell. I think he was also in on it. That's why he knew that there was a dungeon and stuff like that, you know. Anyway, I'm sure that Dumbledore, being one of like the strongest magicians as implied and told to us in the book, he has probably thousands of spells that he could probably use and not get anyone else involved. In fact, if I were Dumbledore, I would make the dungeon a fake out and then just keep the stone on my person, because I would be the most qualified person to protect it. And then I know for a fact that the person who wants it, Voldemort, fears me, right? So I will make sure to diminish the distance between me and the stone as much as possible. I will sleep with the stone glued to my hand if I must. I will shit and pee with the stone in front of me. I will look at it like the child I will never have and just always care for it. And I'll just have a bunch of dungeons all around, just a bunch of fake dungeons, you know, not fake, like they have all of the trials, whatever, all of the dangerous shit, but there's nothing at the end of the dungeon. So that way, Voldemort can have all of his goons trying to get the stone, but they never find it, and nobody will know that the stone is actually on me. But I digress. Harry sees his friends, they go to the feast and find out that Slytherin won the House Cup, except Dumbledore gives Gryffindor extra points out of nowhere. And I know what I said before, you know, the pointing system is arbitrary, it doesn't matter, because Gryffindor definitely deserves to win. Yay. It's not like nobody in the school, except for the trio, knew about the thing. And it's not like Harry and Hermione and Ron just literally failed upwards. They just failed successfully, you know, and somehow didn't fucking end up dead in all of the things that happened, you know. But in my opinion, nobody deserves the House Cup because the system is rigged. Snape is just removing points, and I'm pretty sure that's why. I think it was mentioned in the beginning of the book that Slytherin has been winning for like 7 years or something like that, and I'm pretty sure it's just because Snape has just been deducting points from everybody, and it just favors Slytherin so much that by the end of the year, all of the other houses except Slytherin has like negative infinity points, and Slytherin is the only one who wins because other professors are not as biased as Snape is. But anyway, again, I hit the microphone, sorry. The story ends with Harry going back home, and I'm just like, yeah, it just, you know, it's an abused kid back to his abused family. But then I thought about it, and it's honestly, it is on brand. It is on brand with everything that we have seen in Hogwarts so far. I mean, they have trolls in dungeons, they've sent students into fucking death forest. Yeah, it's fine. This is on brand with everything that we've seen. I rated this glorious book a generous 2 out of 3 stars. Sorry, 2 out of 3. 2.3 stars out of 5, right? I have been very generous with it, I'm saying. I honestly would have given this a 1 star, but it is the first book and it has a lot to do, so I tried to be understanding, you know. It's fine. It doesn't have to answer all of the questions, and that's okay. I have to be a little bit kind. It's fine. So I didn't want to be harsher, so I gave it a 2.3 out of 5. The language is super easy. The characters are relatable. The pacing is a bit off, right? Earlier in the book, we had like longer chapters. I don't think we needed 4 chapters of Harry's before life. I think we could have have spent less time on that and then more time character development, especially like the friendship, because it felt half baked for me. I wanted more of the friendship because Harry and Ron's friendship was better developed than Hermione's friendship with them. Like Hermione was just became their friend out of nowhere and that's it. Whereas Ron and Harry, they got more to connect with in the beginning, you know, when they were in the train. But yeah, the end of the book was very anticlimactic because we didn't see anything firsthand. We were just told about what happened from a background character. No offense to Daddy Dumbledore. And that is it. That's the first book. I feel like this review is a lot longer than I anticipated. And I want to thank you if you have stuck with me until the end. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to reviewing the rest of the series. I mean, not really. I am worried that my brain will crash. If you have any specific books you want to request, you can drop it in the comment section and I will see if I can do it. As I have mentioned, I am currently reading Adventurer Mage by Julian Greystoke, and I will be reading Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros and Lightlock by Alex Asta. Okay, it's 6 a.m. I just finished editing. I want to thank you for watching this video. I give a very, very special shout out to K-Chup, who's supporting me on Coffee. She's a chai tier supporter. I have espresso tier supporter, which is $2, and you can also have a one-time donation of $1 if you wish. See you. Bye.